Welcome back to MidPoint. Also, welcome back economist and chairman of the Society to Advance Financial Education, Steve Beaman, who always gives us an education here when it comes down to the economy. We've just gotten one on Keystone. Now let's get on to employers. Steve, I don't know why, but I was always taught, and this is the way it was, ask no questions. If you had an employer who was giving you a 401k, who was making it available, take it, don't walk away from it. It's the best thing you can possibly do. Now we have employers being sued over 401ks. How did we get here?
Well, this has a lot to do with the debacle we had in 2008 and 2009. There were changes to the Department of Labor's regulations that were implemented last year that create a whole new liability to the sponsors of 401ks, that's the employers, because their participants no longer have anywhere to go for advice. There's something called a 338 fiduciary, and this gets kind of technical, but every plan has to have a named fiduciary now. And if no one has stepped up and accepted that 338 designation, it by default falls onto the employer. And that means if the employees get a severe market downturn, they can go after the fiduciary to say you didn't act in our best interest with the choices we were given.
So basically the employers are sitting here right now making the decisions on their own without any real advice. So they're hunting and pecking at this point to try and make sure that they take care of their employers and deliver what they promised.
The best analogy I've heard is it's akin to a person walking into a pharmacy without a prescription trying to pick a drug that they don't know what they're diagnosed to cure. The participants in these plans need help, and they're not getting it from the plan providers. They're not getting it from the plan sponsors. So you've got kind of a vacuum filling, and God forbid a major market downturn, the lawsuits are going to be flying.
Is there anything the employees can do at the moment?
No, the employees are caught in the middle. They're not legally allowed to get advice from anyone outside of going into these fixed buy it and hold funds they have. If you look at tactical management, which they might want to go to cash, they can't get advice from anyone outside of a 338 fiduciary who has the ability to come in and work with them. But most advisors don't want that liability.
But would you say right now that the best thing to do is don't panic, because you're going to have some people right now who will go, wait a minute, the stock market may crash, I'm going to lose everything. They pull their money out of the 401k. There's penalties involved. Then they have to get back involved in the program again. So you just have to kind of cross your fingers and ride this one out?
Well, clearly, we always tell people never panic. That never leads to a good result. The 401k umbrella is valuable, but what we would tell participants is they need to become aware of what's going on in the plan and in the economy. And if they see this market start to turn south, especially as rates come up in 2015, they may want to allocate some of that 401k money into cash rather than into a stock fund. They can do that now. They just need to understand when to do it.
Minute 30 left here. The Fed talking about a potential rate increase in 2015. I love it. Every time something happens or somebody has a little whisper, we go, there's a hint, there's a hint. So now, of course, with that hint being there, what do you suggest that people do right now?
Well, what we tell people is that you want to be conscious of the way things work. When interest rates go up, it causes two things. Bond prices come down because there's now higher interest on the new bonds than the old ones. So bond funds will lose some money. And the stock market tends to come down as rates create a more competitive circumstance outside of stocks. So what people want to do is be aware of their asset allocation, make sure that they're positioned to not get hurt by something like that. Have a little cash in the account, maybe reduce your holdings in the stock market again, going to cash. Make sure your bonds are not long-term bonds, but shorter term in duration, and that will protect them and help them prosper through that time.
Biggest thing, lock up the home mortgage right now?
Yeah, I would say that. You've got, you want to get interest rates on that as low as you can. A 1% rise in mortgage rates dramatically affects lifestyle. So certainly that's great advice.
20 seconds. You think this could portend the end of the bull market?
I think it could certainly slow it down for a while. I think it depends on how the U.S. economy does in 2015. And since I'm down to about 10 seconds, I want to tell you, I'm going to stay on for the next segment because telling it like it is my favorite segment, and I love it.
I hope you're not a Florida State grad, because that's going to be bad times there. Steve, you go ahead and do just that. We appreciate your time. Don't forget, go to stevebeaman.com. Learn a lot more about what he teaches us right here and we talk about. Steve, always a pleasure. Thanks for the compliment.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Break, and we return with the best place in America to get a free education in how to cover up the facts and cheat the system. I won't make any friends after this one. Coming right back on MidPoint.